Over the last 6 months, I have really been honing in on my short form content. And it's really funny how this all came together because I decided to take a step back from Instagram because the algorithm was pissing me off, okay? Like, I was one of those people just like so over the app, okay? And this is one of my favorite apps. I've been on this app for over a decade. And I just put all my energy into YouTube. That's the platform I love creating on. That's the platform for me, okay? I was creating all this content and I was really honing in on my short form content and just allowing myself to have fun with it, allowing myself to just show up and like create the content that I enjoy seeing and that feels good to me and not being so attached to the outcome. And it was one of the best things that I could have done. But that's not to say that I was just posting lazy content. I wasn't putting an effort in. I was really trying to learn from the last video. What can I improve from the last video? What would have made this better? How many times shorts don't work. I don't get any views. I spend all this time putting in and then you don't show up and you let the results that you are getting while you're still learning and developing and trying to like find your groove in this, you let the results that you were getting during that time dictate whether or not you were going to continue showing up. Instead of committing to showing up for X amount of time, 90 days, 6 months, you give up. You're inconsistent. You only post like 3 times in a 3-month period. And then you wonder why it doesn't work for you, quote unquote. But you have to be able to push through that gritty season when you're not seeing the results and be okay with the delayed gratification and be okay with not putting a timeline on when you're going to find the style of short form content that works for you. For me, I was avoiding creating the type of short form content that I wanted to create because I knew how much time and energy it could take. And I was like, I don't want to do voiceovers. I love watching those videos with the voiceovers on them, but I don't have time to do that. And then the minute I started doing them and putting the effort and intentionality behind that, the algorithm's eating them up. Okay? I'm not saying that's the key to success and all of that kind of thing, but I'm telling you, it's in the things that we are avoiding. This has just been a constant reminder to me that it's in the things that we are avoiding, the work that we are avoiding, the things that we are telling ourselves, that's just too much. And then it's like, we want the easy way out, but the easy way out is not giving us the results that we want. And then we're getting annoyed at the algorithm when it's like, do the work, figure out what resonates and keep doing more of that. And it's like, you say you want this, but you're not willing to do a voiceover? Like, how bad do you actually want this? So it's like, you need to get so for real with yourself on, are you actually doing everything that you can? Are you actually taking yourself as seriously as you can? Like, does your short form content, can it stand alone? Or is it just a trimmed down, like watered down version of your long form content? Like, your short form content needs to be able to stand on its own. And that's something that I've learned over the last 6 months of showing up consistently and putting in the work with my short form content. I'm not saying all my short form content is like me doing voiceovers and these lengthy kind of things. No, like one of my best performing shorts has been a literal screenshot of someone's comment with a background of a video I already had on my phone. 5 seconds. But the only way I was able to even know that would perform well is because I spent 6 months creating content, staying consistent, like really honing in on the topic that I wanted to talk about and wanted to share, and allowed myself to experiment and didn't become attached to the outcome. Like, whatever happens, happens. Right now, I'm just in the information collecting stage, and however these perform is however they perform. And then I was able to gather information and say, oh, people really like this type of video. And like, okay, how can I create more of this? How can I do more of this? Like, you need to be willing to put yourself in a long-term phase of collecting information and experimenting. And that comes with putting yourself out there, getting uncomfortable, staying consistent, and showing up for yourself, regardless of if the results are there yet. Like, you need to be okay with the low amount of views while you are learning to get a grip on all of this. a lot of people just aren't willing to do that, and they're not willing to push through those periods where you're not getting the validation from everyone. You're not seeing the likes come in. You're not seeing any of the engagement come in. And then you go through a negative spiral, and then you talk yourself out of it, and then you're not consistent and you don't show up. And I'm not saying consistent is posting every single day. Like, you get to define consistency, and I'm very big on this, and this is something that I'm very passionate about. Like, you get to define what consistency looks like for you, and you need to let go of what everyone else is doing and then just find what works for you. Stick to that, keep showing up regardless, and be okay with the delayed gratification. I don't know many people who are willing to say, I'm going to experiment with my content for a year and see what works, but I'm going to stay consistent, I'm going to show up, and I'm not going to take it personally, I'm not going to be attached to the outcomes. Like, be willing to do that, and I'll tell you, you will collect so much information and so much clarity. The clarity you are looking for is in the actions you are not taking. I don't know who needed to hear this, but you're welcome, okay? Because I needed to hear this 6 months ago.